Aloha. Welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. We're so glad to have you here. Et como mai. Now here's our podcast host and award-winning author, Michelle.
Aloha, everyone, and welcome to the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast and day 65. Day 65 of our 90-day Jumpstart to 2026. My goodness, 65 days in. We're just moving along so nicely. Today's focus is on leadership and love. So we are in the week. The theme for the week is acute awareness. We go through the Aloha Always framework, affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. And I got that when I wrote my book, Walking in Aloha, 5 Steps to Living Your God Potential Life. So, I'm dropping my wallet and all my coins are falling out. So sorry about that. Anyway, we are on day 65. Today, we're talking about leadership and love. So leading through listening. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak. James 1:19. Affirmation for today is I lead with what? What do I lead with? I lead with love. Yes. So you lead with love, but you lead with perception and patience, right? I lead with understanding. I lead to understand, not just to respond. So the affirmation is I lead with patience and perception. I lead to understand. I listen to understand, not just to respond. So in all, lead with love. Do everything in love. Action step, practice. Active listening with one person today. Give them your full presence with no interruptions. Anyway, leaders who listen deeply, love deeply. Like I said, do everything in love. My nose is itching. At least I'm not all stuffy like yesterday. So anyway, if you're just jumping in with me and you don't know who I am, I'm Michelle Ebalaroza-Kawano. I'm a speaker, author, certified facilitator, and a creative coach. My one-on-one coaching offers help in moving past your past traumas and whatever's holding you back to release that voice that God has given you, just to be more open, just to be more, not just open with others in speaking, because like I said, I'm a speaker, but being more open in what you do, how you do it, and how you perceive life. Because when you hide things on the inside, you really do hold back in life in general. You'll find that to be true. Check it out. Watch yourself. Take note. You cannot be hiding parts of your life and be completely, totally honest and open in other areas of your life. So yeah, that is the way that it goes. That is me. And I posted something on my Facebook earlier today. And I just thought that it was pretty amazing because it was talking about your voice and how your voice is actually made, the sound, the resonation of your sound, and how vocal cords open and close, and how the breath and the air and your diaphragm and everything works together, your nasal passage, everything works together, right? You're built to speak, built by God to speak. And I'll read a little bit. It says, in the news this month, researchers study human acoustics, uncovering something extraordinary. The human voice is not just vibration and breath. It is an orchestra of precision that demands dozens of coordinated systems to work at the exact same moment. Muscles tighten and release with millisecond accuracy. The larynx shifts shape like a living instrument. Airflow is regulated by the diaphragm while the brain computes language, tone, and meaning faster than any supercomputer. No living thing carries anything remotely close to this level of communication. It is unmatched. It is God. So in my post, and I'll share that post with you now, I shared that link to that story, right? It was by, let me see, Because of Jesus. Carrie Reeves put it in there in a group because of Jesus. And anyway, as I read that article, I was like amazed, and it hit me in a different way because I will read it to you. So my post is, we were created by the Creator to speak. When the enemy tried to silence my voice, God trained me to roar. What the enemy meant to destroy, God transformed into my calling. What should have stolen my voice forever became the very thing He anointed. I love when the Lord just brings messages like this across my path, because this time it brought me to a truth I had never fully seen, because I never knew about all of that, how it showed it in that article. The enemy wasn't just attacking me. He was after my voice. In one terrifying moment, he nearly succeeded. So we were in the car, and it was just another one of those days. And I just could feel that it was going to happen again. That emotional, mental suffocation when he kept me in the car and he would drive around the island and just bombard me with negativity and horror. And it was as bad as physical abuse, but he would be driving and I couldn't get out of the car, and it would last for so long. Sometimes it would last till late in the night. So it was very mentally and emotionally damaging. And I just did not want that to happen again, because I knew it was going to happen. So I was telling him, stop the car. And I would just go to my mom's, and I promise I won't say anything. I just want to get out of the car. Just let me out. I'm just going to go to my mom's and you can come pick me up later or whatever. I won't say anything. I promise. I promise. And the more that I pleaded with him, the more angrier he got. And as we were driving, I knew where the freeway was. And as we were getting closer to that turn that goes up into the freeway, I was getting more desperate and I was getting more scared. And I was like, oh, he's getting closer. And so that fear builds and that anxiety builds. And so I saw that there was like a flat spot on the side of the road and he had to slow because there was a turn. And so I thought if I just pulled the steering wheel, he would have to pull into that area. But when I pulled the steering wheel, he got mad and he gassed it, right? And I guess what he was going to try to do was go fast around the bend, and I was thinking I was just gonna pull it to the side and jump out. I don't know. When you're in that situation, you don't think of the details. Trust me, it's crazy, but you just don't think of the details. So anyway, he sped up, and as he did, he grabbed the wheel and it rammed the car up the side of the wall and it ended up sideways. And anyway, I already wasn't wearing a seatbelt because, like I said, I thought I was going to jump out of the car. And what happened was I ended up falling from the passenger side down into the driver's side, because now the car is sitting up sideways like this, right? So I ended up falling down to this side, and I'm crumpled down at the bottom on the driver's seat door, whatever. I'm down at the bottom over here. He somehow ends up climbing up over me and he goes to the top. And all I remember was I looked up and he gets up and out of the top part. He's sitting outside now, the open window, right? And his legs are dangling below, and he's looking down at me and he says, "See what you did, B?" And I was like I couldn't believe it. But I must have passed out or blanked out at that time, because I don't remember anything else except seeing his legs and him saying that. And then next thing I know, there was, I guess paramedics or the fire department or whatever. They came into the car because it's now sideways, right? They came into the car and they're pulling me out through the back and they're waking me up and they're saying that they have to cut my pants and cut my clothes and all this stuff. And it was just it was horrible. Anyway, yeah. So dazed, hurting, terrified, but still alive. still alive. Anyway, months passed, right? Months passed. And then I noticed that this hand was like getting numb and there was this pain that was like running up my arm. And I would always like have to kind of like massage it out, like something was wrong with this hand. And so I went to the doctor about it and they were saying they think that it was carpal tunnel. And so as they were looking at it, they were like, no, doesn't seem like carpal tunnel. So they thought what they'll do is nerve testing. And so the nerve testing is like putting all these needles in your arm, like acupuncture needles, and then they send whatever, shock into your arm and they try to find out, like where the nerve damage is in your arm. And as they kept going up my arm, they realized it wasn't my arm, it was in my neck, right? So they asked me if I was ever in a car accident. And I was like, no, wasn't in a car accident. And then I remembered, oh, yes, I was when the car flipped. Because me thinking car accident is another car, right? Huge bang. So that's what I was thinking. But no, it wasn't. It was when the car flipped. And so what it was that there was a pinched nerve in my neck and they had to do a surgery to release that nerve because it was so pinched that it would start damaging the nerves all the way to my arm. If they didn't release that, then I would like basically lose the feeling in this arm. And I'm like, that's so crazy, So anyway, they went ahead and did all the things that they needed to do to get the surgery done. But if you can see, you can barely see it now, but he was kind enough. I was way heavier then. He said that he was going to put the scar in one of my folds because I was so fat, right? That he was going to put the scar in one of my folds so I wouldn't be able to see it. But as you can tell, it's right there. They have to cut right here to go in and take care of that vertebrae. And so they fused the vertebrae, they added a spacer in there and everything like that. But the one thing that they did tell me, and it was like, those warnings that they do before surgery, is that in extreme cases, you may not be able to talk, but that's extremely rare, but they do have to tell you that after the surgery, you may not be able to talk. And I was like, what? What the heck? So I was thinking, do I take the chance of not being able to talk or not being able to do what I do? And I do crafts and I paint and I use my hands. So I had to weigh out the options and I was like, I think it'll be fine. And so I went ahead with the surgery. And when I was done with the surgery, I couldn't talk. Any more than a whisper. Like it had to be so soft that it didn't vibrate my voice box at all. I had to like whisper. And if I spoke in a normal tone, anything that would cause any kind of vibration, I would cough. It would cause me to cough. And it was so bad, like super bad, because you don't want to cough when you have a scar like right here or an incision that goes all the way into your neck. Coughing is just not good. And so it was hard. And I thought they were right. I thought like I wasn't able to talk. So I went to go visit my daughter. I was staying over there for a while. And I came with the neck brace thing on because, they didn't want me to move my neck around so much and stuff like that. But I whispered everything. Like, and she was like, why can't you talk? And so I had to explain that any vibration makes me cough and I can't cough because coughing, right? Coughing would cause you to swallow more and swallowing was hard enough as it is. So you cough, you swallow, you cough. It was just horrible. You just made things worse if you had to cough. So you better not talk so you don't cough, right? That's how it went. And so I thought, oh no, they were right. And so fear tried to tell me, this is it. Your voice is gone. But God whispered louder in my spirit and was like, so I prayed and I worshiped and I sang out inside of myself. I sang. And then as I sang, I started singing in a whisper. And then I would sing a little bit louder and I was singing worship, and I would sing a little bit louder and then start coughing, and stop and stop. And you have to swallow. When you cough, you have to swallow, and swallowing and coughing. Oh, not good. But slowly and slowly, I was able to sing, and I started to sing more, and I started singing louder, and I could feel a little more of the vibration that didn't cause me to cough. And so as I felt more of the vibration that didn't cause me to cough, I realized that I can sing a little bit louder. I can talk a little bit louder. I can change the notes. So slowly, my strength returned, the muscles healed, the vocal cords awakened, and my voice came back. My voice came back. But it didn't come back the same. It came back stronger, more anointed, more purpose filled. I didn't know what was required of me, but to whom much is given, much is required. And I was like amazed. And I never thought of it that way until now, until I read that, on how much of it had to take place inside. I just thought about coughing. That's all I thought it was, like coughing and swallowing, not good. Maybe if I just did it this way or did it that way or did it, right? But since then, I sang in choir on different times, different groups. I joined the worship team, sang. I was on the worship team, leading worship with the worship team at 4 different campuses for Inspired Church. I led small groups and taught creative classes, and I helped with hugs and Special Olympics and went and served the kupuna, teaching them. And today I'm an international speaker. I spoke on TV, radio, multiple podcasts. I have my own podcast where I host people now, where they are able to share their stories so that other people can hear. I just think that is so amazing that the voice that the enemy tried to silence, is now being used by God in ways that I never, ever, ever imagined. It is now setting captives free, and it brings healing, it brings hope, and it speaks life. I tell you, my voice wasn't lost, it was saved, right? It wasn't lost, it was saved. And now it is sent. God is just so good, so good. I am always in complete awe of the things that he does. And like I said, I never thought of it this way. I never looked at it this way until I saw that article. But God is so our ability to speak, and this part is in the article, right? It is not a biological accident. It is truly a divine assignment. Every breath, every tone, every syllable is evidence that you were intentionally created by a creator who speaks. God spoke everything into existence. Spoke. The God who formed galaxies also formed our voice. And if you look at the article and you read it, you understand that it's just not a vibration coming through one tube that makes all this sound. The articulation, everything works in coordination. Our tongue, our breath, everything. So he formed us, and he formed our voice to declare truth, to release worship, to share our testimony, and to shift the atmosphere. Your voice is not random, as you are not random. You were created by the creator. You were created on purpose, for a purpose, right? It is your calling. It is your weapon, your worship, your witness. It's truly your voice is not an evolutionary glitch. It is a divine signature written into your very breath. And no enemy in hell can take what God created to carry his glory. He created you, he created your voice, he created your calling so that you can carry something that he gave to you. That's why I said you were created on purpose, for a purpose. And I just thought that it was just so amazing on how that was. And I just had to share that today. And as a jumpstart for 2026, we speak today was leading through listening, right? And listening, using your voice, hearing other people, speaking up. It's how do they say it? It's circular, right? It comes and it goes, but you don't just listen like it says. You're not listening just so that you can respond. You're listening with understanding. I lead with patience, perception, lead with love, do everything in love, and listen to understand and not to just respond. Because if you think about it, everyone's voice matters. They matter. What they say matters. When they speak, it matters. So allow them to speak and not just to let them talk and then you just interrupt or you talk about something totally different. But listen with understand. Listen, not to just respond, but so that you can actually hear them. So they know and feel heard because their voice matters. What they're saying, what they're articulating out there comes from a place where you can't see, comes from a place where you don't know. And when people speak, it comes from that private place, from their soul. So when people, it's a twofold. It's a twofold. When people speak, if they're talking like bitter and all of that, know that that's where it comes from too. So whether it's good or bad, it comes from a root, whether it's good or bad. There is a root there. And until that root changes and it produces the kind of fruit that God is honoring to God, then whatever comes forth from your mouth will reflect the fruit. So I just wanted to share that today and carry that into the new year about your voice. It's your superpower. Your voice is your superpower. It is created in such an amazing way. And I am witness. And I can actually say that I am witness to the miraculous wonders of how God created the voice, because my voice wasn't only silenced through the silence of domestic violence. And I've said that multiple times throughout multiple speeches that I was silenced through domestic violence, but I forgot about that time, that stint where I was reduced to a whisper because of that time of domestic violence. And it could have been where my voice was completely gone. And now look, God is amazing. God is amazing. And I thank God for that article coming across my path today, because I didn't know how intricate the voice was. But now I know, and how much more valuable my voice is now today than even yesterday. He just put more to my voice. And I always say, as long as I have breath, I will praise the Lord. But I think for him to place that in my path today, it was just confirmation of more of what I'm doing, and not just for myself, but for the world and for others. It's to share what I know, to share what God has done in my life and what he can do in the lives of others, in their lives, how valuable your voice is when you give it. So your voice is truly, truly your superpower. And now I know why that saying stuck with me and stays with me. Your voice is your superpower. Never forget your voice, because it truly is not just for you to be speaking up, but the way that God created it. So until tomorrow, I wish you guys all a blessed evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Have a blessed day and a blessed rest of your weekend. I will be back again tomorrow for day 66 of 90 as we move right along. If this helped you, if you feel that you know someone who feels that their voice is not heard or lacking or anything, whatever, let them know. Share this with them and let them know that their voice matters. God created them to have this amazing tool, this voice. So whether they're speaking, whether they're singing, whether they're teaching, whatever it is, when they're using voice. Until tomorrow, I will close out for now. We were on for quite a bit, and I thank you for hanging out with me. So have a blessed night. Ahui ho. God's blessings always. Bye now.
Thank you for joining us here on the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. Before leaving, please hit that subscribe button. God's blessings always and ahui ho.